Port Arthur is a small town and former penal settlement on the Tasman Peninsula in Tasmania, the island state of Australia. The town is about 1.5 hours drive from the state capital Hobart. The major attraction of Port Arthur is the Port Arthur Historic Site, the 40-hectare site of a former convict colony. Many highly recognisable ruins remain, including the penitentiary, the hospital, the insane asylum, and the church. Some portions of the site have been recreated, but much is in the original condition. The Port Arthur Historic Site is Australia's best-known historical site from the convict era. Port Arthur was first established as a timber station in 1830, supporting the infant colony of Van Diemen's Land. It became the site of a major prison colony for male convicts from 1833, a place of secondary punishment for offenders. In the 19th century era of convict transportation to Van Diemen's Land, the former name of Tasmania, it very quickly gained a reputation as a hell on earth. At its peak in the late 1840s, Port Arthur became a near self-sufficient settlement, driven by the labour of its tormented inmates. Ultimately, after a couple of decades of decline in the 1850s and 1860s, Port Arthur finally ended its days as a penal settlement in 1877. Port Arthur is located about 100 kilometres southeast of Hobart on the Tasman Peninsula. By car, Port Arthur is a day trip from Hobart, although the historic site is quite large and it is good to plan at least 4-6 hours there. The roads between them is sealed and in reasonable condition, although much of the trip is on narrow country roads, not highways. Drivers from Hobart should take the Tasman Highway past Hobart Airport to Sorrel and the Arthur Highway from Sorrel. The road is well signposted as Port Arthur from the airport onwards. Having arrived at Port Arthur, most people view the ruins on foot. All tickets include a 30-minute ferry trip. Visitors who purchase guided tours of the Isle of the Dead or Point Pure take this ferry to the two locations. There are no self-tours of these locations. Thanks for watching this episode of VideoVoyage.TV. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on these social networks. If this stuff was valuable for you, please help others finding it by sharing it on your social networks. Thanks again and see you next time.